If you're watching this video, you probably have a really exciting Thailand trip coming up. And if you're planning to visit Koh Phangan, you should definitely watch the rest of this video to avoid making the biggest accommodation mistakes that I see a lot of tourists making. Now, unless you have friends or family on the island that have agreed to host you, your accommodation is most likely going to be your biggest expense. And it's going to play a really big role in your overall experience on the island. And therefore, it's worth getting right. If we look back at Koh Phangan over the last 10 years, I myself came here for the first time in 2016 with two of my best mates. We stayed for 3 months and absolutely fell in love with the island. Now, a lot has changed since then. In 2022, I moved here after COVID, just like a lot of other people. And there was such an influx of demand that the prices really doubled or tripled. Now, over the last 2 years, let's say from 2024, the supply has slowly been catching up, and now we have a lot of villas or resorts that are actually close to completion. Now, this solves the demand-supply inequality, but it has also created a few new issues for someone booking, especially from overseas. When you are looking at adverts online, whether it's on Airbnb or Booking.com or any of these big websites, they're obviously going to show you the best photos of the completed villas with the most amazing views, and there's not a lot that you can actually see of the surrounding area. So you see a beautiful advert, they give you the view, everything, maybe there's like a discount going on, and you think it's a great deal. However, when you arrive, you realize that the resort is still 50% under construction, there's a lot of noise, and it's just not exactly what you were planning. Something else to consider that people often overlook is the driveways leading up to these hotels or villas. Most of them are being built high up in the mountains, so they give you a spectacular view of the palm trees, the ocean, the sand, everything you want. But obviously that means you're going to have to go up a pretty steep driveway at some point. And nowhere does super steep hills quite like Koh Phangan. There are areas where it is genuinely frightening going up and down these driveways. And because a lot of these areas are still going through construction, they don't actually complete the road until all the trucks have finished going up and down every day. Now, how does this impact a potential tourist? Well, if you're new on a scooter, but you want the scooter experience, maybe you're coming with a friend or a partner, they're going to be sitting on the back of your scooter. Would you feel comfortable going down a really steep slope when there's gravel, sand, and maybe it's rained overnight? It's definitely something to consider before booking your accommodation. Some people skip the scooters and they go to renting a car, which is a great idea, especially if you're a family. And the good news is on Koh Phangan, there's a much greater supply of rental cars available now than even 2 years ago. But having said that, again, a lot of these villas or resorts, they only have car parking for maybe 2 or 3 cars and the rest is for the scooters. So either you're not going to get a car parking, or if you do, what often happens when people come back late in the evenings on their scooters, if they can't find parking, they just end up parking behind the cars. So you come down at 8 in the morning wanting to go out for breakfast, but you first have to manually move 5 or 10 scooters and find them other places. So these are things that you kind of want to know before you book your accommodation. If you can have certainty that there's no construction, there's no noise, there's plenty of space for cars and bikes to park, that's really going to improve your overall experience. To give you an example of how things can change really quickly, I have a friend that's been coming to the island for about 15 years. He previously stayed at a certain resort and he absolutely loved it. The specific villa that he stayed in was his favorite because there was a big field open next to his, so it really felt like he was almost by himself, really quiet. When he came back a couple of months ago, he booked the exact same spot and he was so happy because he even got like a 50% discount. When he arrived, things went south pretty quick. He realized that they were busy on this field that was a nice quiet open space the previous time. When he got there, they were busy setting up for a 4-day Thailand cultural festival, and the guys were busy moving these like fridge-sized speakers right up against the wall of his villa. So you had massive fridge, thin wall, bed. So not the ideal start. They were playing this music until about 2 o'clock every morning. So this guy would head out and have to only come back home to try and sleep at 2 o'clock. But then on the other side of the villa, the family living there, they had started to live with some chickens and roosters. So the roosters started singing their songs around 4 a.m. every morning. So this guy did not have the best first week when he came back. Now, how do we get around these issues? If you're sitting somewhere in Europe, how are you going to know about the construction or the noise or the driveways or the festivals or the bars, whatever it is? It's really difficult for you to make a fully informed decision. So if you'd like, you can click on the link below and we can schedule a 15 to 20 minute absolutely free video call. During this call, I'm going to ask you some very simple questions. You just tell me your dates, what you want to get out of the island, your budget, and most importantly, what you want to avoid. This island is so diverse, it's wonderful. You can go for a 4-day party on the left, or you can do a vegan yoga retreat for 3 days. But you need to know where to be in order to enjoy all of that most.